Ratios have multiplicative and additive properties. Key words here: multiply and add. You'll see multiplication in ratios, and you will also see addition. Um, so let me give you an example. We've already talked about Nana's amazing chocolate milk, and you have to get it just right. Remember, Nana's chocolate milk needs 4 scoops of chocolate for every cup of milk. And I can show that with a number line where this will be chocolate scoops and this will be cups of milk. You don't have to do anything, guys, right now. Just watch. So we know that for every 4, you need 1 cup of milk. All right. So what we see here is that whenever let's say we do 2 cups of milk and we want to make it just a chocolate. Well, that means we need to add on 1 more. So we'll add on 1 more, right? But for every 1 cup of milk, there's 4 scoops. So we're going to add on 4 of those to bring us to now 8 scoops of chocolate in 2 cups of milk. Now, guys, it's time to get smart here, right? So think about this. What if I accidentally put in like a half cup? So we know 3 is here, right? And let's say I accidentally do an extra half cup. Then the question becomes, well, then how much do I add on? How much do I add on as far as chocolate scoops go? Well, guys, think about this. 1 full cup would require 4. This is not 1 full. This is half. Well, what's halfway to 4? Just 2, right? This is just a little teeny jump of 2. And 8 plus 2 would be 10. All right. Again, that's a little advanced. The main thing I just want you to see is that, when I added 1, I had to add 4 here. And when I add 1 here, again, I have to add 4. But when I add just half, I have to add 2 because 2 is half of 4. This is that additive property. And so later on your paper, I'm going to require you to write something, write how this shows the additive property. And so you're going to write something like this. This ratio has additive properties, or shows the additive property, where for every cup I add, I also have to add flour scoops or vice versa. So we just keep adding. As long as I add an amount here, I got to add the patterned amount, the comparative amount over here, comparable amount. Now look, we can get pretty crazy with this. Let's watch this. We're gonna do 2 number lines. All right, and we're gonna make Nana's famous pizza crust, her pizza dough. And her pizza dough has a ton of stuff in it. It doesn't just have eggs and flour. It does have eggs, so we'll have eggs here and flour here, but it's also got garlic and it's also got salt. Flour we're going to measure in tablespoons, garlic we're going to measure in cloves, and salt we're going to measure in teaspoons, lowercase t. So check this. So the recipe is 2 eggs, 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 garlic clove, and 2 teaspoons of salt. So now let's look at the additive property here. All right, so if I have 2 garlic cloves, the question might be, well, how much do I need of everything else to keep this mix right? Well, to make 2, I'm going to add on 1 garlic clove. Well, for every 1 garlic clove, I need to add on 2 tablespoons of salt and 3 tablespoons of flour and 2 eggs. So where does that get us? That gets us at 4, 6, 2, and then 4 teaspoons of salt. If I was going to write this out, you could see that my ratio is 2 to 3 to 1 to 2, which is the same as 4 to 6 to 2 to 4. Why? Because additive property. Additive property. I'm adding a comparative amount each step I make. Later, when you do your own problem, make sure you show a few of these steps and make sure you write something like this. Let me zoom in on it for you. Here we go. This ratio has additive properties where for every clove of garlic I add, I also need to add 2 tablespoons of salt, 2 eggs, and 3 tablespoons of flour. This pattern continues forever. So guys, that's the kind of writing I'm looking for later in your problem. So now, on a piece of paper, we're going to do this one together. Big fight coming up. UFC 219, I think? 223? I don't know. But it's Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. And even though he's the champion, Tony Ferguson's odds are plus 165. And Khabib's are minus 200. So what does that mean? That means for every $100 if you bet on Ferguson, you will win another 65. Okay, so on this number line, we would have this is what you bet, and this is what you win. So that is, so we look like this. If I bet 100, I'll win 65 bucks. Khabib is the favorite. And so his win to bet ratio, that is not a straight line, sorry. His win to bet ratio looks more like this. You have to, for every 200 you bet, you'll win 100. So you can tell they definitely think Khabib's going to win. So how does this show the additive property? Well, on your paper, let's do a couple steps with Ferguson. I'm not going to write it here. I'm just going to kind of give you some clues, and you do it. We're going to do a couple steps. So, what if I bet $200? Well, then that means I would need to add another 100 here, right? For a total of what? But every 100 I bet, I'm going to win what? Okay, so you're going to need to add that up and tell me what goes there. Then do that for another step. Do that for another step of an equal jump. All right, now looking at Khabib, we might. I'm going to ask you the question of, well, how much would I have to bet if I wanted to win $500, right? So think about this. I'll let you do it on your paper. 100. These are my winnings. That'd be 200, 300, 400, 500. Make sure you put in your tick marks. I'm not doing it because I'm just giving you a clue, right? So this would be 200 here, 300, right? Well, for every 100 I win, how much I got to put down? I got to put down 200, right? So I got to add another 200. So what does that get me there? Right? So in order to win 200, I got to bet 400. And so on and so forth. So you take me all the way to 500. What's it going to take? What am I going to have to put down to get $500? And then remember, on your paper, you should say something like, this shows the additive property because for every 100 I want to win with Khabib, I need to put down 200. Something like that. All right, so it's now time to do this on your own. I'll put the instructions in your Google form. But on your own piece of paper, I want you to show the additive property. You're going to take a picture of it and submit it. Of this, it takes Kalama 5 minutes for every 2 quizzes he has to grade. So on your paper, I want to see a number line. I want to see stuff getting added. and I want to see an explanation as to why that shows the additive property. All right, get it.